And welcome to the WDSU News Hot Seat. Tonight we're focusing on the newly constructed terminal at Louis Armstrong International Airport. It's now been in operation for nearly a month, handling hundreds of thousands of passengers and expecting a lot of foot traffic for the upcoming holiday season. And we're getting an update on its progress and plans for the future of the facility. We're joined tonight by Kevin Dolio, the Director of Aviation for the New Orleans Aviation Board, which governs the terminal. Welcome to tonight's Hot Seat. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll get into it. First question, how are things standing after being opened up for 3 weeks now? And what are some of the things that you've noticed, some kinks that need to be ironed out?
Well, there was kinks in it first week that we worked through that have been ironed out. You know, we had issues with the baggage handling system the second day for about a 3-day period. Then the Uber Lyft lines, we've been working with Uber and Lyft and working through processing their customers, our customers, over the curbside that was designated for that use, and that's starting to work through. And it's just a lot of people. It's a very massive undertaking. It's like moving a small city from one location to a totally different location. All of the feeds into it, the internal roadway network and how it feeds, utilization of the curbside and how that really works and flows in the new facility. So besides the airport staff coming in and learning, every tenant, every employee at the airport is learning a totally new facility and how it breathes and functions, and the traveling public. You know, Uncle Charlie maybe has been coming to the airport for 30 years. And now all of a sudden it's a totally different experience. So, and they can get turned around coming into the airport.
Which is why you hosted the open houses prior to the opening. You said this was a good time to kind of test pilot some things, test drive some things.
That's true.
And see, and so will there be, do you extend that now? I mean, is it kind of still happening as the weeks go by? You're paying attention to what people aren't?
Well, that's a good question, and it's definitely a part of the operation at this point. Until we're in that facility for months or closer to a year, we'll be learning it, and we'll be tweaking the operation as we grow in the facility. And there's chances things that were planned in certain locations in the facility, either inside or curbside, could be moved around based on how the facility actually functions and how things really flow through the facility. So everything is game and on the table, if you will, going forward as we have more and more experience in that facility and really learn it and how it works.
And this isn't your first go around with playing on this level with an airport. You've done this in 2 previous cities when it comes to operating the airport. So just explain to people how it's a multifaceted issue with what you said, again, with the staff, with the agencies that work within the airport, things like that.
You are, when you're leading an airport, you're an operator, of course. You have the airport operations. You're a landlord to a number of different tenants. You're a developer, a very responsible developer, because you have to project out into the future and ensure that you're developing aviation facilities to handle the region's traffic going forward into the future. So you wear a number of different hats, and then everything has to be maintained appropriately and kept running and functioning and continuing to service the traveling public. So it's a very complex operation of a number of different types of trades and expertise that goes in and makes up the overall function.
So pretty much it's a gumbo that you just got to let simmer for a little bit longer.
Absolutely.
Okay. So how is the building held up, the infrastructure of the terminal? How is that held up so far?
It's been great. It's in fact the inside the facility, as I watch people move around, I don't see the old pockets of, if you recall the old facility. On a Friday afternoon, certain airlines, Southwest is a good one to point out, their lines would be spilling over into the common walkway area through the east lobby where they existed. You watch that operation today, and while it gets real busy, you don't have the congestion in this facility that we had in the prior facility. Watching traffic flow in and out, traffic flow ingresses work real well. to the airport with the improvements in the intersection at Loyola and Williams. That's worked very well. And even the internal roadway network. If you might recall, and that became accustomed to Thursday afternoons and Friday afternoons, a typical gridlock on the loop road system in front of the old terminal. I haven't picked that up in this facility. Traffic's flowing through the facility in a much better manner. So it's working there. So that's the type of observations I'm making as I move around the facility, and getting all kinds of positive feedback as folks are utilizing the facility. Bar those first couple days when we had the issues we had, the facility is functioning as, I was about to say as we expected, maybe better than we expected.
Well, since you brought up the traffic, let's talk more about the future plans for the way to get to the airport and what exists right now. You know, talk about how this new direction towards the airport, has it worked out the way you guys expected it? Has it been better or worse? And what are some things that people can expect to see?
We think, and it's just eyeballing, and we'll know soon enough, but it appears to be actually functioning a little better than we expected. What it is currently, well, in the future, there's a flyover project that will be delivered in the 3 to 4 year time frame. That's a DOTD project. Right. It's an accelerated project that's fully funded, and in fact, they're driving test piles today as we speak. So that project's moving and will be delivered in short order. In the interim, DOTD came in and made improvements to the Loyola Veterans intersection. And increased capacity in that intersection. Fire station was bought and relocated, and that area was used to create additional lanes, thus the additional capacity, with the expectation that that added capacity would service the traveling public in good manner until the flyover project was done 3 to 4 years later. And it is performing very well. You exit now one exit further on Interstate 10. You exit at Loyola, make the left, you cross under I-10, that block where the improvements were done, and then you cross Veterans and you're on the airport access road.
Okay. What are you doing as we head into one of the busiest travel times of the year? Not just for MSY, but for everywhere around the country. You tweeted out this weekend that more than 360,000 passengers are expected to fly through MSY starting next week until the beginning of December. Is that right?
Yes. Well, through the Thanksgiving
season,
weekend, right. Well, what we're doing is everybody's very focused on ensuring increased staffing in certain critical areas around the operation. You'll see a lot more law enforcement on the roadway system, particularly in certain key curbside areas to keep the flow of traffic going. You'll see more focus in our ground transportation center and the Uber Lyft area, just to ensure that with the heavier loads, things are working well curbside inside the building. TSA, as you know, when we opened the facility, opened with 11 lanes of equipment, with the plan that, and followed the plan, that within a week and a half after opening, equipment from the old operation could then be relocated, and the TSA capacity would grow to 15 lanes. That capacity is all in place. So TSA now, as the loads come, as traffic comes through the holiday season, can increase or decrease the amount of lanes as traffic dictates it through their operation. So that's all in place, and we'll be closely monitoring a number of key systems in the airport and ensure there's additional manpower around to troubleshoot or correct any issues that come up with any of our systems in the airport.
Talk about something that people may need some clarity on, how people may be allowed to go past TSA without a ticket, non-traveling access.
It's a program we're introducing. I'm glad you asked. That's a good thing to talk about. We recognize that this project is one of the largest infrastructure projects in the history of the state. People were very, very interested in this project and very interested in being able to come out and see and touch and feel what's been accomplished by locals with the assistance of some national expertise. But we built this facility, and this region we think deserved a facility of this nature. This just pushed us into the upper tier of airport facilities around the country. We wanted to be able to afford the community the opportunity to come out and see the full facility, even if they weren't traveling. So we worked with TSA and got approval to initiate a program. We'll be the 4th airport in the country that TSA has approved a program of this nature in, where you'll go on our website, starting after the Thanksgiving holiday season, probably the Wednesday after we'll stand the program up. You'll be able to come onto our website and pre-register to come out. And you must pre-register at least 24 hours in advance. So you pre-register, then the day of the registration or the day of the reservation, you'll come out, check in at our computer customer service desk on the lower level of the terminal. They'll clear you through a certain secure pass system and issue you a pass, and you'll use that pass as a ticket to process through the TSA security checkpoint. So you'll be screened like any passenger, and then you're out on the concourse. And you can free flow between concourses, you can take advantage of the variety of offerings there. You can do a date night at the airport and have a good meal and people watch and watch airplanes, and people are very interested in doing that. We expect it to be a popular program. Now, a question, and I'll ask it and answer it. One might say, well, if you're one checkpoint, you're processing a lot of people through that checkpoint,
right,
why introduce more folks? The program will be small. It initially will be limited to 50 people a day, and no one person can use it more than one time in a month. So if you use it, it's next month before you can come in again. We want folks to have the opportunity to use it, but it's 50 people a day during the week, and 100 a day on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday. And we'll gauge and see how the program, how it catches on, how it works, and we'll grow it later if we see that's feasible to do, or keep it put where it is.
Wow, okay. It was definitely interesting, definitely something that people aren't used to hearing about. So we'll be checking in and see how that goes. One more question, because we're running out of time. You mentioned all the different things that are available along the concourse, these different vendors, a lot of local vendors. How is that holding up? What do the vendors think about what's going on right now?
This is just by word, okay? The vendors are very happy. And the feedback we're getting from our vendors is they're doing better than they expected. And as I walk through and eyeball the facility, it's the restaurants are always, if not full, have good loads in them. I was even surprised one morning. It's about 9:30 in the morning, walking through, and we have a Cure location in the airport. It's specialty drinks. I'm walking by at 9:30 in the morning, and there's at least 15 people sitting at the Cure bar, and they weren't drinking coffee. Okay, so it just blew me away that time of morning. But the program is doing very well. The vendors are very happy, and we expect and hope that's just not an initial blip, that trend continues going forward.
Okay, well, a lot of excitement, a lot of new things over at MSY, and looks like some more things are planned in the future. We'll be checking back in with you, Kevin. Thank you so much for stopping by.